The universe's clockwork. Introduction. Society glorifies the relentless pursuit of success. From a young age, we are taught that the harder we push, the more we will achieve. Hustle, grind, fight for what you want. These are the mantras of modern ambition. We are conditioned to believe that the only way forward is through sheer force of will, and that anything worth having must be chased, conquered, and possessed through struggle. But what if this constant striving is the very thing keeping us from what we truly desire? What if, instead of pushing, we allowed? Across centuries and cultures, spiritual traditions and great thinkers have suggested a different path, one where surrender is not a sign of weakness, but of deep wisdom. The Taoist concept of wu-wei, often translated as effortless action, teaches that the most powerful way to move through life is to flow with its natural rhythms rather than resist them. When a river meets an obstacle, it does not stop or force its way through. It moves around, over, or under, always adapting, never fighting against what is. In Stoic philosophy, figures like Marcus Aurelius and Epictetus emphasize the importance of distinguishing between what is within our control and what is not. To waste energy on things beyond our influence is to invite suffering. They taught that true power comes not from dominating circumstances, but from accepting them and choosing our responses wisely. Even modern psychology supports this idea. Studies on stress and mental health reveal that the need for excessive control is one of the greatest sources of anxiety. The more we cling to rigid expectations, the more frustration and disappointment we experience when reality does not conform to our demands. And yet, in a world addicted to control, surrender feels unnatural. Letting go is often misunderstood as giving up. We associate ease with passivity, as if stepping back means resigning ourselves to failure. The mere thought of releasing control triggers fear that if we stop pushing, everything will fall apart. But the truth is, forcing things rarely works. How many times have we clung desperately to an outcome, only to find it slipping further from our grasp? The more we chase, the more elusive it becomes. The harder we resist reality, the more suffering we create. This is not to say that effort is meaningless, or that ambition should be abandoned. Far from it. Action is necessary, but the energy behind it matters. There is a profound difference between taking inspired action and forcing an outcome. One feels like swimming with the current, the other like struggling against a relentless tide. The most successful people, whether in business, art, or personal fulfillment, have often spoken about a moment when they stopped fighting and simply allowed things to unfold. This does not mean sitting idly by, hoping for miracles. It means moving with clarity, trusting that the right opportunities will present themselves when we are aligned with them, rather than frantically chasing what is not meant for us. Flowing with life is an art, one that requires trust, clarity, and self-awareness. It means recognizing that we are not separate from the forces shaping our reality, but deeply connected to them. When we let go of resistance, we create space for possibility. When we stop trying to control every detail, we invite the unexpected, the serendipitous encounters, the unforeseen opportunities, and the effortless solutions that arise when we are in sync with life, rather than at war with it. This article will explore how embracing flow, clear intention, gratitude, and self-worth allows us to co-create with the universe rather than battle against it. The path to everything you seek may not be through relentless force, but through a quiet, powerful alignment with the life that is already unfolding before you. Chapter 1. The Art of Letting Go. There is a quiet force that moves through all things, a current that shapes the world without struggle, without resistance. It is the rhythm of the seasons, the way the river carves a canyon over centuries, the effortless unfolding of a flower at dawn. This force does not fight, yet it accomplishes everything. It does not rush, yet nothing is left undone. And yet human beings, desperate for control, addicted to force, insist on resisting it. From the moment we are old enough to understand ambition, we are taught to push against reality. We are told to fight for what we want, to chase success, and to seize opportunities before they slip away. But this relentless striving, This belief that we must overpower life to get what we desire often leads not to fulfillment, but to frustration. The more we try to control, the more life resists. The more we grasp at something, the more elusive it becomes. There is a paradox at the heart of the effort. We believe that pushing harder will bring us closer to what we seek, but in many cases, it does the opposite. The person who desperately clings to a failing relationship only drives their partner further away. The artist who obsesses over perfection strangles the creativity that once flowed so freely. The job seeker who anxiously forces every opportunity to work out may overlook the one that was meant for them. Resistance is a form of struggle against what is. It is the refusal to accept the present moment as it stands, the insistence that things should be different. But this struggle creates suffering. It places us in direct opposition to reality, making every step feel like a battle. And in that battle, we lose sight of the natural movement of life, the subtle currents that, if followed, could lead us effortlessly to what we desire. Letting go is not the same as giving up. It is not passive or weak. It is the choice to move with the natural flow rather than against it. It is the wisdom of the river that does not resist the rocks in its path, but moves around them. It is the calm acceptance that not everything is within our control, and that is not a failure. It is simply the nature of life. The challenge is learning to recognize when we are forcing something that is not meant to be. This requires a deep level of self-awareness, a willingness to pause and ask, am I in alignment with what I want, or am I trying to bend reality to my will? The answer is often revealed in the energy behind our actions. When something is forced, it feels exhausting, heavy, and filled with frustration. When something flows, it feels natural and light. And even in the face of challenges, there is a sense of rightness. Embracing this way of being does not mean doing nothing. It means taking inspired action rather than desperate action. It means trusting that the right opportunities will present themselves when we are open rather than frantic. This shift in perspective changes everything. The job that once felt impossible to find suddenly appears when we stop stressing and start trusting. The relationship that seemed out of reach comes naturally when we let go of neediness and embrace self-worth. The creative breakthrough arrives when we release perfectionism and allow inspiration to come in its own time. But how does one cultivate this sense of flow in daily life? It begins with awareness. Notice when you are struggling, when your energy feels tight, when every effort seems to meet resistance. This is a sign that you are forcing something, that you are out of alignment. When you recognize this, step back. Breathe. Ask yourself if there is another way, a softer way, a way that feels more natural. Practicing surrender does not mean becoming passive. It means becoming wise. It means choosing to work with life rather than against it. It means learning to trust in timing, in the unseen forces that shape our experiences. It means releasing the illusion that control equals success and embracing the deeper truth that alignment is far more powerful than force. Some of the most extraordinary moments in life happen not because we fight for them, but because we allow them. The best ideas arrive when the mind is still, not when it is desperately searching. Love finds us when we are at peace with ourselves, not when we are chasing validation. The greatest opportunities appear when we are moving with purpose, but without desperation. There is immense freedom in letting go. Freedom from the anxiety of needing to control everything, from the exhaustion of pushing against forces larger than ourselves. And in that freedom, life begins to open in ways we never imagined. Doors we once pounded on with frustration suddenly swing open effortlessly. People, experiences, and possibilities appear as if drawn to us by an invisible force. This is not magic. It is alignment. To align with life, rather than struggle against it, is to understand that there is a deeper intelligence at work, one that operates beyond our grasp, but is always in our favor. It does not mean life will always go the way we expect, but it does mean we can move through it with more ease, more trust, and more joy. The art of letting go is, in the end, the art of living without unnecessary struggle. It is the art of allowing, of surrendering not to failure, but to a greater wisdom that has always been guiding us, if only we would stop resisting long enough to listen. Chapter 2. Speak and it shall be. The universe listens, not just to thoughts, not just to fleeting wishes, but to the words spoken aloud, the ones whispered in solitude, the ones declared with conviction. Words are not mere sounds, they are vibrations, carrying intent, shaping reality in ways that often go unnoticed. They build bridges between dreams and manifestation, between the unseen and the tangible. Yet so many move through life unaware of the immense power they wield with every sentence they speak. Everything begins with an intention, but it is words that give intention form, that carve the formless into something the universe can understand. A vague desire remains just that, a drifting thought without direction, an unshaped possibility lost in the currents of uncertainty. But when desire is spoken with clarity, with precision, with the certainty of one who knows their own voice, it ceases to be a mere thought. It becomes a call to the unseen forces that shape reality, a declaration that ripples outward, drawing toward it everything needed to bring it into existence. The way words are spoken matters. There is a difference between saying, "I hope things work out and things are unfolding in my favor." There is a difference between whispering a dream in hesitation and declaring it with unwavering faith. The energy carried in words has weight, and the universe responds not to doubt, not to contradiction, but to certainty. To speak with clarity is to align with what is sought, to step into a version of reality where what is desired is already on its way. And yet so many remain trapped in careless speech, in words laced with uncertainty and self-sabotage. They say, "I'm not sure if this will happen. I'm terrible at this. I never get what I want." They speak failure into existence without realizing it, reinforcing patterns of lack, closing doors before they even attempt to walk through them. The universe does not decipher wishes buried under layers of doubt. It amplifies the signals sent, magnifying the words most often repeated. There is a reason why mantras have been used for centuries, why affirmations have reshaped countless lives, and why those who master their speech master their fate. Words spoken repeatedly become beliefs, and beliefs become reality. To say "I am worthy" is not just an empty phrase. It rewires the mind, aligns actions with that worth, and draws in experiences that reinforce it. To say that opportunities come easily to me is not blind optimism. It trains perception to recognize doors that may have always been there but remained unseen. Clarity in language is a practice. It is the act of choosing words with care, eliminating hesitation, of refining speech until it aligns completely with what is desired. It is catching every stray phrase that weakens conviction, every half-hearted statement that contradicts intention, and replacing them with words that empower. Instead of saying, "I want to be successful," one learns to say, "I am creating success in my life." Instead of, "I don't want to fail," the words become, "I am always learning and growing." The shift may seem subtle, but its impact is profound. Beyond self-talk, the words spoken to others hold equal weight. Conversations shape relationships, careers, and opportunities. A person who speaks of struggle and lack at every turn unconsciously invites more of the same. A person who constantly tells stories of obstacles strengthens the presence of those obstacles in their life. But one who speaks of abundance, of possibility, of gratitude, even in moments of difficulty, trains the world to mirror that reality back to them. To align speech with intention does not mean ignoring hardship or pretending that pain does not exist. It means choosing language that does not trap one in suffering. It means speaking of solutions instead of problems, of lessons instead of failures, of resilience instead of defeat. It means understanding that the way a story is told determines the direction it takes next. The most powerful words are those spoken with belief. They do not waver. They do not contradict themselves. They hold steady in the face of doubt, acting as a beacon, drawing reality into alignment with their vibration. Those who learn to command their speech with clarity and purpose begin to notice the shift. Conversations change. Opportunities arise seemingly from nowhere. People listen differently, respond differently, and engage differently. And most importantly, the inner dialogue, the quiet voice that narrates every experience, becomes an ally rather than an enemy. Reality is shaped first by thought, then by speech, then by action. Each stage builds upon the last, and without clarity in words, action is often misguided. Those who wander through life speaking in uncertainties, in contradictions, in half-truths of what they desire, wonder why their dreams slip through their fingers. But those who master the art of speaking with certainty, who eliminate the clutter of doubt from their language, who declare their desires with precision and belief, these are the ones who find that the universe listens and, more importantly, responds. Language is the bridge between the mind and the world beyond it. It is the tool through which thoughts take shape, through which dreams move from abstraction to reality. Every word spoken is an act of creation. Every sentence uttered is an instruction sent out into the universe. Those who speak with clarity, with conviction, with the unwavering belief that their words hold power, these are the ones who align effortlessly with the life they seek. Chapter 3. Gratitude as a magnet. There is an unseen force that draws abundance toward those who master it, an energy that transforms struggle into ease and scarcity into plenty. It is not luck. It is not blind optimism. It is gratitude. Gratitude is not just a feeling. It is a practice that rewires the mind to see abundance where others see lack. A mind steeped in gratitude shifts the way the world responds, aligning circumstances in ways that seem almost magical. But this is not magic. It is the natural result of a mind that sees clearly and understands the power of appreciating what already exists rather than fixating on what is missing. It is easy to believe that fulfillment comes from gaining more success, more wealth, more recognition. The chase is endless, a pursuit that never quite satisfies because the mind conditioned to seek what it does not have will always be searching. There will always be something just out of reach, something that seems like the missing piece, something that promises happiness only to leave an emptiness once attained. But gratitude breaks this cycle. It interrupts the endless grasping and turns attention to the wealth that is already present, the abundance that has always been there, unnoticed. A person who cultivates gratitude does not live in a state of wishful thinking. They do not ignore hardship or pretend that suffering does not exist. Instead, they train themselves to see clearly, to recognize that even within struggle, even within loss, there is something to be grateful for. They understand that gratitude is not merely a reaction to good fortune. It is a deliberate practice, a way of thinking that transforms every experience, no matter how difficult, into an opportunity for growth. Life will always contain difficulty. This is unavoidable. What can be controlled is the way hardship is perceived. Some crumble under the weight of challenges, drowning in resentment and self-pity, believing that life has conspired against them. Others, though they face the same struggles, do not suffer in the same way. They meet adversity with quiet strength, not because they are immune to pain, but because they have learned to see beyond it. They find gratitude even in the midst of difficulty, not for the suffering itself, but for what it reveals, for the lessons it offers, and for the resilience it builds. Gratitude is a shield. It protects against despair by shifting focus away from what is lacking and onto what is present. It is impossible to feel scarcity while appreciating abundance. It is impossible to feel powerless while acknowledging all that has already been given. The mind cannot hold both lack and gratitude at the same time. One will always overshadow the other. And so the choice becomes clear: to dwell in dissatisfaction or to cultivate gratitude and align with a life of fulfillment. Some believe that gratitude means settling, that to be content with what is means abandoning ambition. But this is a misunderstanding. Gratitude does not remove the desire to grow or improve. It simply removes the desperation, the sense that happiness is always somewhere in the future, always dependent on achieving something more. A person who practices gratitude still moves forward, sets goals, and pursues dreams, but they do so from a place of abundance rather than lack. They are not running from emptiness, they are moving toward expansion. There is a reason why those who are grateful seem to attract more to be grateful. It is not because the universe rewards positivity with material gain. It is because gratitude changes perception. It allows the mind to recognize opportunities that might have otherwise gone unseen. It removes the fear that blocks action, the doubt that prevents risk-taking, and the resentment that keeps doors closed. Gratitude aligns the mind with possibility, making space for abundance to flow naturally. Those who master this practice do not wait for reasons to be grateful. They do not postpone appreciation until life is exactly as they want it to be. They do not say, "I will be grateful when things are better." They are grateful now at this moment exactly as things are. They understand that if they cannot find gratitude in the present, they will not find it in the future either, no matter how much they gain. To cultivate gratitude is to rewire the mind, to train it to see what has always been there but was once overlooked. It begins with small shifts, acknowledging the simplest joys, the quiet moments, and the unseen gifts that life offers daily. Over time, gratitude becomes second nature, an effortless state of being rather than something forced. And as gratitude deepens, so does alignment. Life no longer feels like a struggle. Abundance no longer feels out of reach. And the universe, always responding, seems to open its doors a little wider. Chapter 4. The Role of Stillness. The world moves at an exhausting pace, a relentless whirlwind that demands more, pushes harder, and never pauses. It is a ceaseless rhythm, a cacophony of deadlines, expectations, and obligations that leaves little room for breath, let alone reflection. In this endless motion, the mind becomes restless, tangled in a web of plans, regrets, expectations, and fears. It is taught to believe that stillness is wasted time, that silence is emptiness, and that slowing down means falling behind. But in truth, stillness is where everything begins. It is not the absence of life. It is the space where life reveals itself fully, where the noise of the world quiets just enough to hear what has always been there, waiting patiently beneath the surface. There is a power in presence, a quiet force that dissolves resistance and aligns the mind, body, and soul with the natural flow of existence. This power is not something that needs to be acquired or learned, because it has always been within us, a birthright buried beneath the layers of distraction and urgency that modern life imposes. Stillness is not just the pause between actions. It is the source of clarity, the foundation from which all meaningful action arises. It is the fertile soil in which the seeds of creativity, wisdom, and peace take root and flourish. When unbridled, the mind gallops on and on through the fields of the past and the future like a ferocious horse. It alternates between recollections and expectations, bringing up unresolved issues or reopening old wounds. It clings to power, grabbing at answers before they are needed and adding needless difficulties to the quiet. However, overthinking does not lead to actual clarity. It comes from taking a step back and letting ideas settle like dust in a bright room until the perspective clears up. Too much noise, too much movement, too much doing drowned out the solutions that felt so far away, but they were never really missing. Nature understands stillness in a way that the modern mind has forgotten. A river does not force its way to the ocean. It moves effortlessly, adjusting to the landscape without resistance. Trees do not rush their growth, nor do they cling to their leaves when the seasons change. Everything flows according to its nature, without struggle, without unnecessary effort. When the mind learns to reflect this rhythm, life ceases to feel like a battle. There is no need to force outcomes when there is trust in the unfolding of things as they are meant to be. This trust is not passive, it is an active surrender, a recognition that life is not something to be controlled, but something to be experienced. One of the most effective methods for re-establishing this natural condition is meditation. It is about returning to the present, to what is real and indisputable, not about clearing one's head or running away from reality. This simple technique of sitting quietly, paying attention to your breath, and letting your ideas drift through your mind like clouds in the sky make room. There should be room for insight, intuition, and alignment with something bigger than oneself. The mind starts to listen rather than dictate, and everything changes during that hearing. A strong sense of connection and a profound understanding that we are a part of something big and beautiful are what remain after the noise subsides and the clutter disappears. The incapacity to accept reality is the root cause of resistance. It is the mind's insistence that things should be different from what they are, and its inability to let go. However, resistance just results in pain. It wastes energy that could be used for development, obscures vision, and inhibits opportunities. Resistance wanes when presence becomes second nature. Forced solutions and chasing after unattainable goals are no longer necessary. Rather, there is faith. Faith in the natural progression of life, faith in time, faith in intuition. This confidence is not blind. Rather, it stems from the knowledge that life is a meaningful journey rather than a collection of chance occurrences. It only takes a few quiet minutes throughout the day to change everything. Before reacting to a difficult situation, take a deep breath. A peaceful, distraction-free stroll. Before the morning hustle, a few quiet moments. These instances are not unimportant, rather they are the strands that make up a balanced and harmonious existence. They serve as a reminder that the mind does not have to be in charge of everything, that surrendering is powerful, and that clarity arises from thinking less rather than more. These times serve as a little oasis in the middle of the modern desert, allowing us to relax, rejuvenate, and reconnect with our true selves. Accepting silence is accepting existence in its whole. It is a greater comprehension of when and how to act, not a retreat from it. It is easier to make decisions, control emotions, and effortlessly align with the cosmos when one is in this state of the present. Moving in unison with the flow of things is all that is required now. Pushing or pulling is no longer necessary, and everything starts to come together in that flow. Not because we made them, but because we let them, the puzzle pieces fit together. Stillness is not a luxury, it is a necessity. It is the antidote to the chaos and confusion of modern life. It is the key to unlocking our true potential, to living a life of meaning and purpose. It is the bridge between the external world and our inner world, the place where we can hear the whispers of our soul. In stillness, we find not emptiness, but fullness, not silence, but a symphony of truth, not absence, but presence. The world will continue to move at its exhausting pace, but we do not have to be swept away by it. We can choose to step out of the current, to find our own rhythm, our own stillness. In doing so, we reclaim our power, our peace, our joy. We remember that we are not separate from the world, but deeply connected to it. And in that connection, we find our true home. So take a moment, breathe, listen, feel. Let the world rush by if it must, but do not let it take you with it. Find your stillness, your center, your truth, and from that place move forward with clarity, with grace, with love. For in stillness we find not only ourselves, but the very essence of life itself. Chapter 5. The Value of Self-Worth. Beneath the surface of every choice, every dream, and every moment of triumph or defeat, there flows an invisible current, a force so subtle yet so powerful that it molds the very fabric of reality. It decides what comes to us, what eludes us, which doors swing open and which remain forever closed. This force is the unshakable belief in our own value, the quiet certainty that what we seek is not only possible, but already within our grasp. This is the force that shapes destinies, the conviction that we are worthy of what we desire. Yet many move through life, carrying an invisible weight, a barrier they cannot see but feel in every rejection, every missed opportunity, and every moment when something was within reach but somehow slipped away. This weight is not misfortune, it is not failure. It is the part of the self that whispers, "You are not enough," even when the conscious mind insists otherwise. It is the part that sabotages progress, creating distance between what is desired and what is believed to be deserved. The hidden self, the shadow that lingers beneath the surface, is where these doubts reside. It is where every unspoken insecurity, every unhealed wound, and every internalized fear gathers, forming a narrative that dictates what is possible. Ignoring this shadow does not make it disappear. Suppressing it does not silence its influence. It thrives in the background, shaping choices, reactions, and even the way the universe responds. To align with life's natural flow, this hidden self must be acknowledged. It must be brought into the light not as an enemy to be defeated, but as a part of the whole self that seeks understanding. The thoughts that whisper of inadequacy, the fears that claim unworthiness, the patterns that repeat in an endless loop, these are not truths. They are echoes of the past, remnants of conditioning, and beliefs absorbed from a world that profits from insecurity. Reclaiming self-worth is not about forcefully adopting confidence or pretending to be fearless. It is about dismantling the illusions that suggest fulfillment must be earned through struggle, that happiness is reserved for the deserving few, and that love, success, and peace are only available to those who have proven their value. True worth is inherent. It is not granted by achievements, external validation, or the approval of others. It is not increased by perfection or diminished by failure. It simply is. Transforming self-perception begins with awareness. Every time an opportunity is dismissed, every time a compliment is rejected, every time doubt replaces certainty, a pattern is revealed. These moments are not coincidences. They are reflections of the inner narrative. Change does not come from ignoring them. It comes from questioning them, tracing them back to their origins, and asking whether they are truly one's own beliefs or merely borrowed from others. Shifting this internal dialogue requires intentional practice. Acknowledging past wounds without allowing them to define the future. Releasing the need for external validation and recognizing the power of self-acceptance. Speaking to oneself with the same kindness and encouragement that would be offered to a loved one. These are not small acts. They are the foundation upon which a new reality is built. The universe responds not to what is wanted, but to what is believed to be possible. It mirrors back the energy projected, the silent expectations held beneath the surface. When self-worth is low, even the most powerful intentions can be blocked. When self-worth is strong, even the most unexpected blessings can unfold effortlessly. Aligning with abundance, love, and fulfillment does not require force. It requires the courage to believe, to embrace all that has been hidden, and to stand in the undeniable truth of one's own value. The process of embracing self-worth is not a single moment of realization, but an ongoing journey. There will be days when doubt resurfaces, when old wounds ache, when the shadow whispers once more. But each moment of awareness, each choice to move forward despite the voice of insecurity, strengthens the foundation. The more the mind is trained to recognize worth, the more naturally opportunities flow. Alignment is not about demanding from life, but about allowing life to reflect back what is already known within. It is about releasing the idea that effort and worthiness are connected, about trusting that the very act of existing is enough. When this truth is fully embodied, resistance fades. The need to prove, to chase, to struggle, these fall away, replaced by a quiet confidence that draws in everything that once seemed impossible. True self-worth is not arrogance, nor is it fragile. It is the steady knowing that nothing needs to be earned, nothing needs to be justified. It is the understanding that what is sought is not out of reach, but waiting to be claimed. And in that realization, the universe opens its doors, no longer an obstacle to be conquered, but a partner in creation, ready to meet every intention with effortless synchronicity. Chapter 6. Action with Intention. Letting go is often misunderstood. It is not surrendering to inaction, nor is it waiting passively for life to unfold without effort. The path of alignment is not about abandoning movement, but about refining it, channeling energy in a way that is both deliberate and free from unnecessary struggle. There is a profound difference between force and intention, between acting with clarity and acting out of desperation. Many push forward with relentless intensity, believing that success is a product of sheer willpower, of grinding against resistance until the world finally bends to its demands. This is the mindset of control, the belief that if enough effort is exerted and if enough pressure is applied, results must inevitably follow. And yet this approach often leads to exhaustion rather than achievement, to frustration rather than fulfillment. Forcing outcomes creates resistance, not only externally but within. The body tightens, the mind narrows, and instead of moving with the natural current of life, one becomes trapped in an endless struggle against it. True power does not come from mere force, but from an internal alignment that makes action effortless. The will to create, to expand, to reach new heights is not about proving worth or overpowering obstacles. It is about recognizing that every step taken must originate from a place of inner clarity. When action is rooted in this deep sense of purpose, the energy expended feels different. It is not a draining push against the tide, but a natural movement forward, guided by an invisible rhythm that makes things fall into place with ease. There is an art to intentional action, a way of moving through life that does not sacrifice effort, but refines it. Those who operate in this space understand that taking action is essential, but the type of action matters. There is a stark difference between acting out of fear, grasping for control, desperate for results, and acting out of inspiration, where each step forward feels like a natural extension of the self. The first is a battle, an exhausting game of manipulation and force. The second is a dance, where even the hardest work feels purposeful, where even challenges feel like invitations rather than punishments. The most powerful movements in life do not come from frantic motion, but from a deep certainty that guides each decision. It is the quiet knowing that effort is not wasted when it is directed with precision. When one's actions align with an internal sense of direction, even the obstacles that arise become part of the process rather than barriers to success. Every challenge becomes fuel rather than resistance, a necessary force that strengthens rather than hinders. To act with intention is to recognize that success is not found in blind exertion, but in the ability to listen, to discern when to push forward and when to step back, when to accelerate and when to pause. It is the awareness that movement must not be constant but conscious, that in stillness there is as much power as in momentum. Many fail to see this, believing that to stop is to lose ground and that to wait is to fall behind. But in reality, those who act with intention understand that true progress is not measured by how much is done, but by how well energy is directed. When action is infused with purpose, results are not only achieved, but achieved in a way that feels meaningful. The struggle that once accompanied progress fades because the energy behind the effort is no longer tainted with doubt or resistance. It is the difference between climbing a mountain with a heavy pack of unnecessary burdens and ascending with only what is needed. The journey is the same, but the experience is entirely different. Those who live this way, who act with intention rather than mere force, seem to move through life with an ease that others envy. It is not luck that guides them, nor is it the absence of hardship. It is the mastery of energy, the ability to channel their will into what truly matters, while releasing the need to control everything else. They do not waste effort fighting battles that do not serve them. They do not pour energy into proving their worth or forcing situations that do not align with them. Instead, they act with a sense of clarity, a quiet power that makes every step deliberate, every choice infused with purpose. This is the essence of aligned effort, where willpower is not an instrument of force but of creation. It is the recognition that what is sought is not achieved through resistance, but through the unwavering commitment to move in harmony with one's own truth. When this shift occurs, life stops feeling like an uphill battle and instead becomes a natural unfolding, a process in which effort is met with results not because of struggle, but because of clarity. To align with the universe is not to wait idly, nor is it to force movement in desperation. It is to step forward with intention, to trust that the right action at the right time will yield more than 1,000 actions taken in fear. It is to recognize that power is not in how hard one pushes, but in how well one moves. Those who understand this do not ask whether they will succeed. They already know the answer. They walk with certainty, not because the path is easy, but because they no longer waste energy fighting against it. Conclusion: the balance between flow and effort. The skill of living in harmony with life's unfolding involves striking a careful balance between acting and waiting for events to occur. True success is developed here, not in the never-ending drive to advance or in the passive waiting, but in the capacity to know when to take a step forward and when to take a step back. Many people view life as a struggle, a never-ending attempt to exert control, forecast, and impose results. There is a persistent sense of tiredness that comes with the sincerely held notion that struggle is necessary for success. It's simple to confuse surrender with weakness and think that letting go equates to giving up. Real surrender, however, is not a surrender to fate. Rather, it is an act of wisdom, an understanding that resisting the current only results in resistance, whereas learning to flow with it enables something much more: effort that feels natural, action that feels purposeful, and success that materializes without stress. Clarity is the foundation of this alignment. To move in harmony with life requires a deep understanding of one's own desires, free from the noise of external expectations. Without clarity, action is scattered, driven by impulses, fears, or the pressure to keep moving for the sake of movement. But when there is certainty about what truly matters, choices become effortless. The right opportunities appear not because they are forced into being, but because they are recognized when they arrive. Presence is the second pillar. So much energy is wasted on regretting the past or anxiously anticipating the future, yet real power exists only in the present moment. To align with the universe is to be here, fully engaged with what is, rather than lost in what was or what might be. When one is present, decisions are no longer clouded by fear or doubt. The mind is clear, the intuition sharp, and action flows naturally rather than from a place of resistance. There will always be moments that require effort, times when action must be taken with full force and unwavering determination. But there will also be times when the wisest choice is to wait, to observe, to trust that the seeds planted will grow in their own time. The key is knowing the difference and recognizing when movement is necessary and when stillness holds more power. This is not an easy balance to master, but those who learn it begin to experience life in an entirely different way. The struggle is replaced with ease, frustration with trust, and exhaustion with a quiet confidence that the path will unfold as it should. To align with the universe is to embrace this rhythm, to move with intention, to let go of the need for control, and to trust that clarity and presence will guide every step. This is not the absence of ambition, nor is it a passive approach to life. It is the highest form of mastery, the ability to act with power and purpose while remaining open to the unknown. Those who understand this do not fear the future, nor do they waste energy forcing what is not meant to be. They move with life rather than against it, and in doing so they find what so many spend their lives chasing: peace, fulfillment, and success that do not come at the cost of their own well-being.